Our topic for today is the sense of hearing, equilibrium, smell, and taste. Okay, so if you talk about hearing and equilibrium, these senses are to be found in our ear, these two, no? And this one are found in our nose and this one in our tongue. Okay, so this will be our topic for today. Let's go first for the ear, no? So, ear houses two senses, hearing and equilibrium or balance. If you say equilibrium, uh, sometimes you feel dizzy and sometimes you cannot balance yourself even standing up. Maybe you have problem in your ear. Okay? Somebody who experienced this one, no? Difficulty in balancing himself. If they go to the doctor, they check their ear because the center for balance also is located in our ear, no? And it's not only for hearing, but also for balance. Okay, so if you remember this cranial nerve, the vestibulocochlear nerve, okay, the vestibulocochlear nerve is located in our ear. The vestibular nerve, okay, is the one controlling our balance. Okay, and the cochlear nerve is the one controlling our hearing. So that's why it houses two senses because the vestibulocochlear nerve is located in our ear and it has the vestibule and the cochlear. Okay, so if you go inside our ear later on, you can see that the vestibulocochlear nerve are connected to our ear. Okay, so that's one thing that you have to remember, that the ear is not only for hearing, but also for equilibrium or balance. Okay, so receptors are called mechanoreceptors. Okay, why? In hearing and balance, we don't need chemicals to hear, we don't need chemicals to balance, but we need machine or mechanical equipment, okay, in order to hear and in order to balance. And these mechanical equipments, okay, they have hairs, there is they they act through movement. That's why it's mechanoreceptors, no? Mechanoreceptors, they act through movement. Okay, and later on we will see that or we will learn that inside the ears have liquids or fluids that flow, and there are stones that create movements so that these mechanoreceptors can perceive and send signal to the brain to be interpreted as sound and as balance. Okay? So, if you talk about ear, the receptors are called mechanoreceptors. Okay? Different organs houses receptors for each sense. Okay? So, anatomy of the ear. If you look at the ear, no, the ear is divided into three areas. We have the external or outer ear. If you look at the division here from your auricle or pinna, no, the one that is coming, that is externally visible. Okay, so this is the auricle or pinna. Okay, the external outer ear that includes until our eardrum or tympanic membrane. Okay, tympanic membrane or eardrum are the same, no? So that is the external outer ear, and the middle ear is the tympanic cavity. If from here, okay, until here, the pharyngotympanic tube or auditory tube is included. Okay, and it houses the three bones here: the hammer, the anvil, and the stirrups. Our code here is has. so that you can memorize it or miss, no? So hammer, anvil, stirrup, or malleus, incus, and stapes. Okay, so that is your code here, so that you can memorize these bones here, no? There are bones here. So inner ear is the bony labyrinth. If you look at here, no, inner ear. So the inner ear contains already the vestibule and the cochlea, and we have the circular canal, no. So these are the important organs inside, and this is the vestibulocochlear nerve that I am telling you, no. So vestibulocochlear nerve, the vestibular nerve is connected to the vestibule, and the cochlear nerve is connected to the cochlea, and this is the cochlea, and it says here bony labyrinth. So if you look at here, this is not flesh. Okay? All of them are composed of bones. So that's why it's called bony labyrinth. Even this like snail like structure, if you look at this is the cochlea, a spiral cochlea. This is not flesh, this is bone. Okay? And it is a labyrinth. What do we mean by labyrinth? If you look at figurine, no? The figurine is empty inside. That's why it's a labyrinth, no? It's empty inside, wherein there are fluids that is flowing inside this inner ear. Okay? For the external ear and middle ear, they are composed of, or they are air filled, no? Air filled. Only air is here. But here, air and fluid. Inside the labyrinth, it has fluid. And the fluid is very important for us in order for us to hear, okay, and balance. Okay, so let's talk about the external ear. Okay, so we divide that one. The external ear is here. First structure is the auricle or the pinna. So this is the auricle or the pinna. Some of you have large auricle or large pinna. They said if you have larger ear, you have longer life. I don't believe that one. No? Okay, so some of you have small ear. Uh, Sabi nila, the bigger the better because the longer your life. Okay? But that is only a superstitious belief. Okay, so external acoustic meatus or auditory canal. Okay, so we have an auditory canal, this one. Okay. And this auditory canal is a narrow chamber in the temporal bone. If you hold your temporal area, so you can see, no, the external acoustic meatus, no, and then it is lined up with skin. If you look at this one, no, until here, it is lined up with skin or cutaneous membrane. Okay, and this skin has ceruminous glands that secretes wax or produce wax. Okay, and these wax are very important. Okay, they trap foreign materials or foreign body that goes into the ear. No, that's why do not remove. Always remove your wax. If it is too much, you cannot hear already. You need to remove it. Okay, ends at the tympanic membrane. So it ends at the tympanic membrane. And what is tympanic membrane again? It's the eardrum. So this one is the tympanic membrane. No? Yan. Okay. So let's go to the middle ear, no? Tympanic cavity. Okay, in the middle ear, it is air-filled cavity within the temporal bone. So this one is already inside the temporal bone, no? So this is already bone. And inside the temporal bone, we have this one, the middle ear. Okay? Until here. Only involved in the sense of hearing. Okay? That's the middle ear. Okay? There are two tubes associated with the inner ear. The opening from the auditory canal. So this one, no? This one, auditory canal, covered by tympanic membrane. Okay? And the auditory tube connecting the middle ear with the throat. This one, pharyngotympanic tube or this one. Okay? Actually, this one is connected to your throat. That is why sometimes if you have throat problem, your ear, you feel pain on your ear because this one is connected, no? And sometimes if you have ear infection, you will have sore throat. Okay, so it follows, no? And the number one infection in the ear is what we call otitis media. Otitis media. Okay? So, allows for equalizing pressure during yawning or swallowing. The tube is otherwise collapsed, no? So, this tube is always closed. Okay? To equalize pressure from the atmosphere and inside the ear. But if you go to higher places, no, the pressure in or outside or in the atmosphere becomes higher. That's why you have difficulty of hearing, especially if you go to high altitude, no, and also when you ride a plane, you experience sudden loss of hearing or difficulty of hearing because pressure outside increases. It doesn't equalize. So pressure here is greater than the pressure inside. So in order to equalize pressure, what will you do is you do yawning and swallowing. So when you are going up to Baguio and you feel that one, sound is decreasing, you just yawn and swallow. So the tube will open, no? And it will now equalize the pressure inside in the middle ear and the outer ear. So you can hear again. Okay? So bones of the middle ear. So these are very important to memorize, no? The bones in the middle ear. So I told you already your code, no? Has, miss. So if the choices are they are using this one, you use the has. If the choices are using this one, you use the miss. Okay? So this is the first bone, no? Actually, vibration creates sound. Okay, we need to vibrate these three bones in order to create sound. Okay, so three bones or ossicles, they are called ossicles, no? Span the cavity. First is the malleus or the hammer, incus or the anvil, and stapes or stirrups. Function is vibration from eardrum, move the hammer, anvil, stirrup, and the inner ear. So if you look at this now in the illustration, this is now the hammer. So when the sound enters our ear, there's a sound wave and touches the eardrum. Tug, dug, the eardrum will now vibrate. Sorry, will now vibrate, no? So if this one vibrate, it will now vibrate also the hammer. And this hammer, if this one will vibrate, the anvil will vibrate also. And it will now create vibration to the stirrups. Okay. In connection to this, no, this vibration goes until the inner ear. Here, in the oval window. This is the oval window. Okay. So, the organ for hearing is this cochlea. So, from here until this one, this nail, no? This is the organ for hearing. So, this one is not vibrating the cochlea. But inside the cochlea, as I have said a while ago, this is a bony labyrinth. This is bone. And inside is hollow, filled with fluid. So, when this one is vibrated, no? The fluid inside is being stirred up. nahahalo yung fluid sa loob. So, by stirring up the fluid, it creates, it creates stimulus so that we can hear. That's why if your eardrum is not vibrating anymore, because it becomes stiff, you cannot hear already because there's no vibration already that is being created. So, sounds are always being created by vibration. Okay? So, later on, we will go to the inner ear. Okay? So, what is important is that the tympanic cavity contains these three ossicles that will further create vibration in the inner ear. Okay? Which is initiated by your tympanic membrane or your eardrum. Okay? So, there are three bones inside. First is the hammer, and then the anvil, and the stirrups. For the vibration, so eardrums, hammer, anvil, stirrups, and then the cochlea. Okay? Or the inner ear. Okay? So, here, the inner ear or the bony labyrinth, okay, includes the sense organs of hearing and balance. Okay, so filled with perilymph. Okay, what is perilymph? Again, okay, so perilymph, it's a fluid inside, okay, this bony labyrinth inside the inner ear. So there is perilymph, and also there is endolymph. There are two fluid there, no? Perilymph and endolymph. Contains a maze of bony chambers. Okay, you know already what is maze, no? What's the meaning of maze? For example, this is the circular. Okay, so there is a maze inside. It's difficult to draw here because of ano. Yeah. Okay, so there are maze here, no? The fluid follows. Okay, and here there are receptors. Okay, located here. And this receptors is now connected to our vestibular nerve and in the cochlea, cochlear nerve. Sorry for my drawing. I'm using the mouse. It's difficult now. So, contains maze of bony chambers with the temporal bone. So, it is inside our temporal bone already. So, it says maze because there are many passageway of the perilymph inside. Okay? So, we have the cochlea, vestibule, and semicircular canal. So, if you look at the cochlea, the snail-like, no, and the vestibule is this one, no, the body here. Okay, here. This is the vestibule, and this one, semicircular canal. Okay, wherein the fluid flows. Okay, for determinants of balance. So, let's go for the organ of equilibrium. So, the organ for equilibrium is this one, no? Here. Okay. So, if you look at this, okay, there are receptors here. Okay. These receptors are connected to your vestibular nerve. Okay. So, we have an apparatus to maintain equilibrium inside our brain. If you remember, if we talk about the brain, no, we have the occipital lobe. The occipital lobe is the one controlling the equilibrium or balance. Okay? So, this one is connected to your occipital lobe. So, it goes to your occipital lobe because it is connected to your brain on the cerebellum. Did you remember cerebellum? So, cerebellum, the function of the cerebellum is to maintain equilibrium or balance. Okay, so, equilibrium receptors of the inner ear are located in the vestibular apparatus. So, there is apparatus here. These are the apparatus, no? Okay. So, vestibular apparatus has two functional parts. static equilibrium and dynamic equilibrium. Okay. For the static equilibrium here, dynamic equilibrium are the semicircular canal, no? Okay. So for the static equilibrium, the receptors are called maculae. Okay. Receptors in the vestibule. Okay, so if you look at the structure, no, it is located here. Here. No. So membranes of the vestibule. If you look inside this one, we have this kind of structure which is called maculae. No? The maculae, if you look at the maculae, it is like, okay, this one have stone on the top, small stones on the top, which is called otoliths, no? And we have the otolithic membrane that is located here, no? And then we have the hair tuft. So hairs are the one determining the position of the stone, no? When the stone moves, signal or stimulus is sent to the hair cell, okay? Okay, and then to the supporting cells and goes to your vestibular nerve. Okay, so these are connected to your vestibular nerve. Oh, there is a vestibular apparatus inside, no? And inside of this vestibule, okay, it contains these maculae receptors, okay, that report on the position of the head, send information via vestibular nerve. Okay, so if static equilibrium, if you are not moving and you are standing up, you can stand because of the static equilibrium. Okay, the one that makes you stand up, okay, or balance yourself is the maculae when you are not moving. Okay, and that is static equilibrium. You are not moving, but you can balance yourself. Sometimes it's difficult to balance ourselves even though we are not moving, no? So, the position of the head, okay, is being sent, uh, is being reported by the maculae to the vestibular nerve. Okay, so if you look at the maculae, no, there are hair cells are embedded in the otolithic membrane. So this is the otolithic membrane, no. They are embedded there, and otoliths, tiny stone, float in a gel around the hair cell. So there is a gel here, and the stones are located here. Oh, this is the structure. And movements cause otoliths to bend the hair cell. So if you move your head, your tip up, your head, the otoliths will move, and the hair cell will determine or send signal to your vestibular nerve so that you can balance yourself, and your brain will interpret, and then the cerebellum, okay, controls our skeletal muscle for us to balance ourselves. Okay? So, the vestibular nerve are only apparatus sending information to the cerebellum about the position of our head. Okay? So that the cerebellum will now command our skeletal muscle to balance ourselves. Oh, ganun pala yan, no? Okay, so here. So when you are your head is straight up, no? Your otoliths are located like this. Okay, so the movement of your muscle controlling yourself is making you stand up erect, no? So if you tilt down your head, okay, by the force of the gravity, this otolith now gives a different direction. Okay? And this here now follow the direction of the otolith, and this one sends signal to your vestibular nerve and go to your cerebellum, and then cerebellum will now coordinate. This is involuntary coordination. It now coordinate our skeletal muscle to create movement to make static equilibrium so that you can balance yourself. Okay? I want you to try, no? You stand up. Okay? You stand up erect and you move your head like that. You can feel that your skeletal muscle is doing something that so that you can balance yourself. Try. Okay? You tilt up and you will see that your skeletal muscle will do something to balance yourself. Okay? Remember that the vestibular nerve is only a nerve that is connected to your cerebellum. The cerebellum is now the one controlling your muscle. Okay? Gets? Okay, for the dynamic equilibrium. Now, when you are moving, dancing, no? The dynamic equilibrium is the one controlling, no? These receptors respond to angular or rotary movements. Ayan, angular or rotary movements. A while ago, when your head tilt down or tilt up, this one is angular, no? So, pa-angular naman. Angular or rotary when you rotate, no? Because you are moving. Now, this is moving, no? Okay, the receptors here are found in the crista ampullaris. Okay? Dito naman, crista ampullaris. The dynamic equilibrium. Okay, crista ampullaris. In the ampulla of each semicircular canal, okay, in the ampulla of each semicircular canal, dynamic equilibrium receptors are located in the semicircular canals. So, they are now located in the semicircular canal. Okay? Top of hair cells covered with cupula. Okay. Cupula. Gelatinous cup. No? Just like a while ago, no? Gelatinous cup. Okay. If the head moves, the cupula drags against the endolip. So, this one contains this fluid, no? Endolip. The semicircular canal. Okay. So, this is now the ampulla. So, they are now contained in the semicircular canal. Okay? So, this one now is connected here. Okay? And it is again connected to your vestibular nerve. Okay? So, if you look at here, no, this endolymph or fluid. Okay? So, we have this copula of crista ampullaris. Ito, this one is the copula. And this is connected to your vestibular nerve. Okay? So when you turn or you make an angular movement, no, the endolymph is changing the direction of your ampulla. So if you are not moving or turning your ampulla, no, or copula of the crystal ampullaris is standing like this. Okay, but once you move, the fluids inside are stirred, no, na-stir sila. So, this one moves also. And inside, there are hair also. Just like a while ago, no? And so, it will now send signal to your vestibular nerve about the direction of the body movements. And again, in order for you to balance, this nerve now is connected again to your cerebellum, no? And the cerebellum now makes an coordination, involuntary coordination of your skeletal muscle so that you can balance, okay, to maintain equilibrium. So, copula of crista ampullaris. Clear? Okay, so action of angular head movements. The movements of the cupula stimulates the hair cell. So, the movement of the cupula, this is the cupula, okay, it stimulates the hair cells. The hair cells are here. An impulse is sent via the vestibular nerve to our cerebellum. Okay. So always remember the signal is sent to the cerebellum. Okay. Remember vestibular nerve is a nerve only, no? It's part of our peripheral nervous system. But the one who process the information is our brain. So what part of the brain? It's the cerebellum. Okay. Let's go now for the organ of hearing. So inside the ear, no, there is what we call organ of hearing. And the organ of hearing is the organ of Corti. So this is again an apparatus inside your cochlea. Okay? That will now, okay, that is connected to your cochlear nerve. Okay? Cochlear nerve. And this cochlear nerve is connected to your temporal lobe. Remember, the organ for hearing, interpretation of hearing is in the temporal lobe. Okay? So, located within the cochlea. Okay, so there are receptors inside. Okay. Remember, the receptors here are called mechanoreceptors, no? So, they uses hair also. They have hair cells on the basilar membrane. Okay. Later on, we will see, no? It's a gel-like tectorial membrane is capable of bending the hair cells. Okay, so like the organ for equilibrium, no? They are using hair cells, and when these hair cells bend, they send signals to the temporal lobe. Okay, the cochlear nerve attached to the hair cells transmit nerve impulse to the auditory cortex or the temporal lobe. Okay, remember, no? Temporal lobe. A while ago, for the equilibrium is the cerebellum. This one is for the on the temporal lobe. No? Auditory cortex. If you say cortex, it's outer part of the brain, isn't it? If this is the brain, this is the cortex. So on the auditory cortex on the temporal lobe. Okay? So in order to hear, we need receptors. We need the organ of Corti. And this organ of Corti is found inside the cochlea. And this organ of Corti contains receptors, which is hair cells on the basilar membrane. Okay? If you look at the organ of Corti, it has a gel-like tectorial membrane that is capable of bending the hair cell. So, who bends the hair cell? It's the tectorial membrane. Okay? And cochlear nerve are attached to this, and the cochlear nerve is attached to our temporal lobe on the auditory cortex of the temporal lobe. Okay, so if you look at the cochlea, no, inside the cochlea, actually the cochlea is spiral like that, no. So, but if we go inside the cochlea, we can find this one, no, the organ of Corti inside, no. Okay, so uh, in between this one, we have perilimb in the scala of vestibule. So this is the vestibule, no? Okay, perilimb in the scala of tympani here. Okay, and we have the cochlear duct that contains endolimb. So this is the one that is being steered by our eardrum. Okay, and this is the spiral organ of Corti. Yan. Okay, so the organ of Corti is inside the cochlea, no? And the organ of Corti is connected to your cochlear nerve. And this cochlear nerve is connected to the auditory cortex of the temporal lobe. Okay, for interpretation. Makuha natin. Okay, so if we go inside the organ of Corti, no? So the structure is like this. So we have a cell that has hair, no? These are the hair. Okay, and we have the tectorial plate. Ayan. So this is the tectorial plate. Okay. Once the endolymph is being stirred, so this is fluid, no? Because of the vibration of the sound. Okay, from the eardrum to the hammer to the anvil to the stirrup to the oval window. Tung! So vibration inside the fluid makes this tectorial plate vibrate also, move, and movement of this tectorial plate, okay, will make this hair bend. So maggagalaw yan. It will make this one bend. And bending of this hair will send signal to your cochlear nerve and go to your temporal lobe and interpret. Okay? So we have also the basilar membrane. No? So the basilar membrane here, it is where the cells, hair cells are located. No? And we have also supporting cells here. Okay. So this is the organ of Corti, the organ for hearing. Actually, this is the one sending signal to our uh, temporal lobe for interpretation. And the movement or the vibrating or the steering of endolymph causes the tectorial membrane to move or vibrate. And this one now causes the hair to bend. Okay, so without steering or without vibration, you cannot hear. So vibration is very important. Okay, so mechanism of hearing. Vibration of sound waves move tectorial membrane. The movement of tectorial membrane, the hair cells are bent by the membrane. Okay, the action potential starts in the cochlear nerve. An impulse travels to the temporal lobe. Okay? And continued stimulation can lead to adaptation. Okay? So that is the mechanism of hearing. Where can we find the mechanism of hearing? In the organ of Corti. An organ of Corti contains this tectorial membrane and these hair cells. Okay? During vibration, tectorial membrane is moving, and the hair cells are bent, okay, by the membrane. And then action potential starts in the cochlear nerve, and impulses travels to the temporal lobe. Okay, that is the mechanism of hearing. Okay, if you look at here, no, so the external ear, middle ear, and inner ear. So sound waves. So when you strum a guitar, boom, okay, this vibration or the sound waves enter the pinna into the auditory canal and to the eardrum. Okay, after the eardrum, it goes to the three bones, no, hammer, anvil, stirrup. Okay, and it goes to the oval window. Okay, oval window, and then it will now go to the inner ear, and fluids in the cochlear canals are being stirred up. Pag na-vibrate na, the fluid moves. Okay. Okay, so upper and middle and lower part of the inner ear are being stirred up. Okay? And it goes to the organ of Corti is stimulated. Okay? Yeah. So there is amplification on the middle ear, no, because of this hammer, anvil, and stirrups. Okay, so sound waves are being amplified by this. So the purpose of this middle ear is to amplify the sound waves. Okay? So here, if you look at this illustration, no, they straighten the cochlea. Actually, the cochlea is spiral, isn't it? They straight it. Okay? They make it straight so that we can analyze it, no. So this is the steps or stirrups, no, and this is the oval window. Okay, when vibration goes here, and this one will vibrate to the fluid here now is being stirred. Okay, nahahalo. So fluid are moving. Okay, the movement of this fluid causes the tectorial plate to move. Okay, and it causes the hair cells to bend. Okay, and send an action potential to our temporal lobe. Okay, so from this oval window, okay, at the end of the low oval window, we have the round window here also. No? Okay, so the fluid is moving. So look at this. Okay, cochlear nerve. It is connected until here now. Here. This is the cochlear nerve. Okay. The organ of Corti is contained inside of this. Okay? So the organ of Corti is contained inside of this. So when vibration hits the oval window, these fluid are being stirred up. Okay? So different part creates different pitch. Okay? So it says here, high pitch sound disturb the short, stiff fibers of the basilar membrane. Okay. High-pitched sound disturb the short, stiff fibers of the basilar membrane. So here, receptors are close to the oval window are stimulated. No? Here. Okay, so low-pitched sounds disturb the long, fluffy fibers of the basilar membrane. So here, the nearer to the oval window, the higher pitch sound, okay, is being determined. Okay? The farther from the oval window, its low pitch sound disturbs the long fluffy fibers of the basilar membrane. So specific hair cells further along the cochlea are affected. So there are many um, hair cells here along the basilar membrane. Okay? So this basilar membrane contains hair cells that are connected to your cochlear nerve. Okay? And this signal are being sent to your temporal lobe or in the auditory cortex of the temporal lobe so that the brain can interpret. Okay? So, ganun pala yan, no? So, the organ of Corti is inside the cochlea. Okay? And there are hair cells. So, if the hair cells are stimulated near from the oval window, it has a high-pitched sound. Okay? So the high-pitched sound disturb the hair cell here. The low-pitched sounds disturb the hair cell here. Okay? So that is how it was interpreted. So fibers of basilar membranes. Ayan. Okay? Base, short, stiff fibers. Okay. So high-pitched tone. Apex along the fluffy fibers. Okay, this is the apex. Is low-pitched tone or low notes. Okay? Ah. Okay, like that, no? So this is the oval window. So the hair cells are now being bent by this movement of the tectorial membrane, no? While they are being disturbed. here, no? So the disturbances is caused by the movement of the endolymph. Endolymph are fluid inside, no? Caused by the vibration of the uh, steps in the oval window. So it will vibrate. Okay? And sound is being interpreted in the temporal lobe, no? In the auditory cortex of the temporal lobe. Okay, did we get it? Did you understand? Yes or no? Yes or no? Hello. Hello. Okay, so the apparatus here is the organ of Corti. Inside the organ of Corti, we have the tectorial membrane, and also we have the hair cells that is connected to your vestibular, connected to your cochlear nerve, okay, and then connected to your auditory cortex of the temporal lobe, okay. So let's go now to the sense of smell. Okay, sense of smell. So if you say sense of smell, what do you use? Of course, your nose, no? So olfaction, sense of smell. Olfactory receptors, okay, are in the roof of the nasal cavity. So if you look at the nasal cavity, when this is the nose, no? Uh, Babalo. So this is the nose. So there is a roof here, no? The roof of the nasal cavity. Actually, the bone here is the ethmoid bone, no? And they are located here. Okay. So the olfactory receptors are located in the roof of the nasal cavity. Okay, if they ask you what is the bone, it is the ethmoid bone, no? So neurons along with long cilia. So the description of the neurons here has long cilia. Okay? So chemicals must be dissolved in mucus for detection. Okay? So a while ago, the receptors in our organ of hearing and equilibrium are mechanoreceptors. Here, uh, chemical receptors, no? Chemoreceptors. They are called chemoreceptors. Okay. So in the mucus, no, if the air passes through our nose and it goes to our mucous membrane in the roof of the nasal cavity, okay, the air is being trapped here by the mucus, okay, by the mucus, and chemicals from this air must be dissolved first to be detected, okay, to be detected. So mucus traps the air, and chemicals that is contained in the air must be dissolved first so that we can now determine the smell. Oh, ganun pala yun, no? So impulses are transmitted via the olfactory nerve. So this is one of the cranial nerve, no? If you talk about olfaction, you are talk about the olfactory nerve, no? I think it's the second. No? Interpretation of smell is made in the cortex. Actually, temporal lobe also of the of the brain, no? Okay, so just remember that olfactory receptors are located in the nasal cavity, in the roof of the nasal cavity. Okay? So if you look at here, no, this one, okay, so they have this olfactory bulb, okay, and the receptors are located here, no, here. These are now your receptors, okay. So they have support cells also, okay, and then the olfactory hairs. So we have this one, the cilia, no? So route of the inhaled air containing odor molecules. Yan. So mucus will trap them and chemicals should be dissolved first in order to be interpreted. Okay? Uh, we have the cribriform plate of the ethmoid bone. No? This one. Actually, there are holes here. No? We will talk about this one on our skeletal system. If you look at here, there are holes here for the receptors. No? This one. So that the receptors can pass through here. Okay? So for to be exact, where is the location of the receptors? Okay? Olfactory receptors. It is located in the cribriform plate of the ethmoid bone. Okay? So where can you find this ethmoid bone? At the roof of the nasal cavity. Okay? Yan. So next is the sense of taste. Okay, sense of taste. If you talk about sense of taste, you talk about the tongue, no? So the tongue contains taste buds, okay, that house the receptors. Okay, for the taste, it is also chemoreceptors. Okay, chemicals should be dissolved first in order to be interpreted also. Okay, location of taste buds. Most are on the tongue. We have also on the soft palates, and also we have the on the cheek. Okay, so don't be mistaken that taste buds are only contained in the tongue, but also in the soft palate and the cheek. No, if you talk about the soft palate, it is the um, on the posterior part of the oral cavity, on the yeah posterior superior part of the oral cavity. You can touch it with your tongue, no? The soap there. Okay, so in the cheek. Okay, so what we know only is the taste buds are only contained in the tongue, but here it is also contained in the soap palate in the cheek. No? So we have the lingual tonsil, palatine tonsil, and the epiglottis here. No? Okay, so we have the fungiform papillae that is located here. So this is the tongue, no? So taste buds are located usually in the tongue. Okay, the circumvallate papillae in the papillae, no? If you look at here, it is a circular. Okay, so inside of this one, you can see already the taste buds. Okay, so these are the receptors. Okay, these are the chemoreceptors. Okay. So the tongue is covered with projection called papillae. So if you stick out your tongue, you can see projection there, small projection, no? We have piliform papillae, sharp with no taste buds. Okay. We have pungiform papillae, rounded with taste buds. Always remember this one, no? Not all the papillae contains taste buds. Okay, so the pungiform papillae and the circumvallate papillae are the one containing the taste buds. Okay, so pungiform papillae is rounded with taste buds. This one is large papillae with taste buds. Okay, taste buds are found on the sides of the papillae. Okay, so again, so taste buds are not only found in the tongue, okay, but in the tongue we can see projections, and these are called papillae, and we have three papillae, 1, 2, 3. First is filiform papillae, next is pungiform papillae, and circumvallate papillae. This one does not contain taste buds, the filiform. The one that contains taste bud is the fungi and the circumvallate papillae, and this one contains a large papillae with taste buds, no? Okay, so usually taste buds are found in the sides of papillae. Okay, structure of the taste buds. We have the gustatory cells are the receptors, no? So the receptors here are called gustatory cells. Okay, so they are interpreted, no, in the gustatory area of our cerebral hemisphere, no? Have gustatory hairs. Again, it has hairs, just like in our sense of hearing. Along microvilli, hairs are stimulated by chemicals dissolved in saliva. Okay, and then it will be interpreted. Okay, so impulses are carried to the gustatory complex by by several cranial nerves because taste buds are found in different areas. Oo nga naman, no? So, taste buds are not only found in the tongue but in different areas. So, several cranial nerves are responsible for sending this information. Okay? So, what are the nerves? First is spatial nerve, then glossopharyngeal nerve, and vagus nerve. So, these three nerves send signal to the gustatory area of or gustatory complex of the brain for transmission of impulses and interpretation of data. Okay, remember that there are three cranial nerves for the interpretation of taste. No? Okay, so taste sensation, we have sweet receptors, sugar, with saccharin, some amino acid, sour receptors, acids, okay, beta receptors, alkaloids, like the ampalaya. So, ampalaya is alkaloids, no? So, if you're acidic, it's better to eat ampalaya, no? And we have salty receptors, metal ions, sodium chloride, no? And another one added here is the umami, umami, umami taste, which is discovered by Japanese, no? Umami taste is what we call meaty taste. Meaty taste. You cannot describe meaty taste with this four, no? That's why today umami is added to the taste sensation, which is meaty taste. Umami. Okay, masarap. Japanese. Okay. Development aspect of the spatial senses formed by early embryonic development. So during embryo, this is already formed. Eyes are outgrowths of the brain. So they are extension of the brain. All spatial senses are functional at birth. So all spatial senses, including eyes, are functional at birth. Okay. Chemical senses, taste and smell. Both senses use chemoreceptors. Okay, so in hearing we have mechanical receptors or mechanoreceptors. Here chemoreceptors. Okay, stimulated by chemicals in a solution. So chemicals should be dissolved first before interpreted. And taste has four types of receptors. We have five already. No, umami is the number five. Smell can differentiate a large range of chemicals. Okay? Both senses complement each other and respond to many same stimuli. Okay. So, taste and smell correspond to each other, no? Meaning, before you can taste the food, you must smell it first. So, without sense of smell, you cannot taste the food. Example, when you are having runny nose, no, or colds, common colds, you are suffering from common colds, you cannot smell the food. That's why you have difficulty of tasting the food also. Okay, that's the reason. So both senses complement each other. Okay, and respond to many of the same stimulus. So development aspect of eye problems. Okay, strabismus, cross eye. Some of us are strabismus, no, but it could be corrected by operation, and they are going to operate on the extrinsic muscle that causes eye movements. Maybe some are long, so the eye is not balanced, no, they become cross eye, result from unequal pulse by the external eye muscle in babies, no. Ophthalmia neonatorum, this one is very important because it causes blindness, no. Conjunctivitis resulting from mother having gonorrhea. This is what I'm telling, no. During your duty in your DR, newborn care. Okay. So, one of your duty is to prevent this disease on the baby. Okay. This can cause neonatal blindness. Okay. Especially if mother is having gonorrhea. So, every newborn should be administered with ophthalmic ointment. So, you will put that ointment in the eye of the baby, no? If this is the eye, it will be applied from inner canthus to outer canthus. Okay, newborn yan, na. Sometimes you get nervous because it's newborn, no? You will apply the ophthalmic ointment. Usually, they use gentamicin ointment. Okay? So, baby's eyelid are swollen and pus is produced. Imagine, nagnanana yung mata ng bata kabagong panganak pa lang, no? So, that is what, to prevent neonatal blindness, we administer ophthalmic ointment. And that is one of our duty, no? Okay, presbyopia. Okay, old vision results from decreasing lens elasticity and that accompanies aging. So, when you are getting old, okay, so your lens already hardened and it is unable to do accommodation. Okay, what do you mean by accommodation? Ability of the lens to change shape when the object is near, no? Ganon. So you lose that ability. That's why you have difficulty of seeing things, no? So blurred vision, old vision. Okay, another one is presbycusis, a type of sensory neural deafness. Okay, otosclerosis, ear ossicle fuse. Wow. So what are the three ossicles fused together? So it cannot cause vibration already because they are fused together.